All right, there we are. No time for a countdown tonight.
No,
We don't have.
whoa.
We
There we go.
got. We got
Sorry.
it. We got it. Okay. All right. Hey, welcome everybody to Rainwater Games. We have special guests with us, Mark Streed from the Dice Tower. Mark,
Yes.
how's it going, buddy?
Good. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on. This will be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my whole world is board games. However, I am fully 100% dedicated to iiRcade. I love that machine. So,
What What is your favorite iRcade game? I think I know because you told me
hands
earlier.
down, Dragon's Lair, because that's the reason I bought it. Number one. I guarantee if Dragon's Lair was the only game, I would still bought it.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
love the fact that I've got retro and modern games, and it feels like a modern arcade cabinet. Sure, I love the retro stuff. That's cool and all, but I've been there. I lived it. I want a modern arcade cabinet.
Yeah, I love iArcade. So I don't know. It might take a few minutes for some people to join us in
Sure.
chats. We are normally do a countdown or something, but we have Benji's Garage Game Room has joined us. So I can click here and pull up their the chats. He says hello all.
Hey,
So today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. A lot of the stuff on my channel is video game related.
right.
Today we're going to go board games. If you've watched my channel at all, you guys know that I love board games because you can probably see I've always got a wall of board games
Awesome.
behind me. The the wall of games that every board gamer must have, right? So
Right.
and Mark, I hear you you do a little bit of work with board games.
Yeah, just a
So
little
why don't
bit.
you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So my primary job on the Dice Tower is doing videos for Kickstarter folks. So I do a lot of the preview videos. Well, what does that mean? Well, they're not how to plays, they're not reviews. They're really show and tell videos. Like,
Right.
hey, I played a game last night. I'm going to tell you about it, kind of thing. So, and I love, so many board game folks. Not that this is bad, but so many just put a camera overhead and shoot down at the table and then talk about the game. I'm all about angles and shadows and soft focus
You
and
put a lot of work into
down.
those. Yeah.
I put a lot of work into it. I put the camera down on the table, zooming in. I've got a dolly that runs across my table that I can get all these wide pans of the games, and it's really to show the pretty of the game. And sure, you can glean some knowledge off of how the game plays, but it's really not meant to be a teach. It's meant to say, hey,
Right.
this gives you a flavor of the game, and then it's up to you to decide if it looks like something you would like to back or purchase. Like I just did Talisman Harry Potter, which is Talisman, but a streamlined version using Harry Potter theme.
Oh,
And
nice.
that's from the op, but that is a published game. So they're not all Kickstarters.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just a show and tell piece. And
Well,
I
they work.
always,
They work very well because I tell you what, a couple of them you've said, "Hey, check this out, Jeff," and next thing you know, back.
I love the, what was tell everybody the one that you just,
Oh, okay. So he sends me this one. Okay, and my daughter, you got to understand, I have an 11-year-old daughter who loves unicorns. I don't even remember the name of this game. The game is about unicorn poop
Somewhere Under the Rainbow.
somewhere under the rainbow. Go check out Mark's video about that, and then you'll want to buy this too. It's about unicorn poop.
Yes, it is. Very much so.
And
But
I'm
man,
like,
the
I
game
gotta
is,
get this.
the game is gorgeous.
It actually,
And
not only that, it looks like a fun game.
yeah, it is. They did a really good job. And you even have your little insects and things, and you've got a little plunger that you have to actually pick the pieces up with like a suction cup and move them around and stuff. So
Oh my gosh.
there's a lot of actually decisions to be made as you build out your resources and so
I
forth.
can only imagine opening this box and my daughter going, let's play it right now.
Because it
That
is
one
that
will
gorgeous.
get played.
The game is just beautiful. The prototype looked like it was just done and ready to go.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah.
So yes, so your videos, I don't know the magic that you do in those videos. It makes me want to buy them. That's for sure.
That's good.
And
That's the
I've
whole
backed
point.
many a Kickstarters because of your videos.
It's funny. People ask, and I'm very clear that up front and at the end, hey, this is a paid preview.
Right.
So people
You
are
got
very
you have
aware.
to be transparent about that.
Yeah, I got to be transparent about that. But then I still throw out one or two things that I liked about the game. but I never say back this game or you should buy it. I always follow up my thoughts with, but if this looks like something of interest to you, that
Right.
kind of thing. So,
You ever had a game that you didn't really like, and you're like, well, they're paying me to promote this, and how do you handle that?
it's rough because what's interesting is that even the games that I don't like, and there's only really been probably 5 that I just really disliked. Okay, and that's out of 400 videos now or something like that. And there's some that are just okay, and that's usually what it is. It's just okay. And
Yeah.
the thing is that I love the process of creating the video so much that that it's not paramount that I love the game. It's just that I'm showing it off to the best of the ability of the game and what they provided.
Right.
So with those games though that I really didn't like, I still found something like I can't remember exactly all of them, but one of them there was one card in the game that worked. That did this one thing that was like, wow, that's really neat how that works. So I always try to focus on the thing that I felt like. So even though those games were like pretty bad, I still had something positive somewhere in those to say. Like at minimum, the artwork is just really nice or something like that.
Right. And you're
So
not necessarily doing a review,
no,
right? So you're not really having to say, well, my opinion on this game is it sucks, but you should back the Kickstarter
right.
because it might be
I've
for
done,
you. You don't
I've
have to
done
say
some
that.
party games too that I'm not really a big party game guy.
Yeah.
So I'll throw in things like, hey, I played this with my family and they really enjoyed it.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
It's like, I guess if you watch enough of your videos, I can maybe pick out the ones like that one might be one that he's not too keen on. I don't know.
it's so true. It's so true.
But here's the thing. There are games out there that maybe you're not keen on and I just love, right? Like I can't tell you how many people love Betrayal House on the Hill, and I absolutely hate that game.
Yeah.
I hate that game. I don't,
Admit
but so
it's
many
got some
people love it.
problems. The game has some problems.
So thank you. Somebody agrees with me.
Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed several of the plays that I have had with that game, but it definitely there's some glaring issues with it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only just with some of the gameplay, but the components.
Oh, true. Yeah.
The boards have warped on me and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
I could go on and on about how I complained about that game. Like, what am I supposed to do? They're like, well, I don't know yet. You gotta wander around some more and figure it out. It's like,
explore. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
well, let's get to the meat and
let's
potatoes.
do it.
So, Mark, we got 2 different lists that we're going to do today. They're not related at all.
No.
So, my list, what I'm going to be doing, and then you can explain your list. I'm going to be doing, and I have some of the boxes here, but we'll show some actual
Images.
of the components and stuff from Board Game Geek. We'll pull them up.
Yep.
And so my list is going to be my top 10 best games of all time. So these are not necessarily the games that I think are like mechanically the best games,
Sure,
or
just ones that you enjoy.
Yes, these are ones that, hey, I think these ones are worthy of being considered the top 10, in my opinion. Now, I do have to add this one caveat because I know a lot of people that are watching this may not be board gamers. This list is not necessarily. I'm live right now. Jeez. Go see mom. What? No. Go see mom. My daughter.
That's awesome.
So this, what was I saying? Oh, this list is not necessarily a list that if you're new to board games, you should go pick up these games, because some of these games are extremely complex.
Yes.
And can take a lot. There's a lot going on. Others, I think, are definitely are. They're more of what we call a gateway game for beginners. So I'll point out which is which, when we get to those. But I just wanted to make sure. I don't want someone to be like, well, that was Jeff's number 2 game or number 3, so I got to go buy it, because you might not be to that.
It's interesting that you went that route, because I went the opposite route, where these are games that have that arcade video game feel. My list is so a lot of these are very much entry level and just family fun type games.
Okay.
So and it's actually a list I've never created before for a top 10 list. So that was pretty fun. And even though these are my current 10, I went from like 30 to to 5 to 10 to 50. There were so many options. I could have put so many more things in here. And I will say that if you look back in the history of board games, and Milton Bradley had a ton of actual arcade games like Zaxxon and
Yes,
all that kind of stuff.
You know, the best place to get some of those is at like thrift stores.
Yes,
I've
totally.
got a few of those old, and a lot of them don't play very well.
No.
but they're cool to have to collect.
Back
right?
in the day, though, it was a big thing they were doing. Oh, let's turn this into a board game. So
yeah. So we got a few people joining us here in the chat.
Yeah, cool.
Papa Brad's Gaming is here. We got the Dawn of Time. Hollywood Polo's here.
Nice.
We got Console Fanboy. Battleship is the best game ever. There you go. That is Console Fanboy's favorite game. I think I have Battleship.
Electronic Battleship, though, right?
I don't know if I actually have Battleship. I may have had Battleship at one point. But
oh man, this is terrible.
It's not really a gamer game.
No, it's not. But there is a party game version, not really Battleship, but I can't think of the name of it. It's you sit on either sides of the screen and you're trying to figure out where their sub is.
Sonar, Captain Sonar.
Thank you, Captain Sonar.
I have the 4-player version of that.
So Captain Sonar is very much a Battleship. You say my Battleship game.
Console Fanboy, check that one out. If you like Battleship, try Captain Sonar or Sonar. I think Captain Sonar is 6 players.
Yeah, I think it might be 8 actually.
And then Sonar is the 4-player version.
If you can get a Captain Sonar game with 8 players, that is amazing amount of fun.
Think Battleship, but you're like in teams like you've got a captain and an engineer.
Yeah.
It's
good.
Really, really cool. Yeah, that's a great convention game.
Yeah, totally is. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so let's start. I'm going to jump in. Where's my list? Oh dear, I'm not ready.
You might need that.
I might need this. Okay, so I'm going to start with my number 10. And this is one that I like this game because it is very accessible and is one that I think I'm good at, but I tend to lose anyway.
Oh no.
Have you ever had one of those? You're like, I'm so good at this game. And then you get a new player and you're like, oh, I'll go easy on you. I've played this 100 times or whatever. And then they beat you. And then you're like, how did this happen? Right. Anyway, that game is Splendor. Now this one, I think you can pick this up at Target now. Probably.
Oh yeah, I think
it's a pretty popular game now, and the components are super cool. I don't know why I love
There's a huge tactile experience with that game, and that's one of the board games that draw me in big time is that tactile experience. Those poker chips are amazingly fun to handle. I am not particularly a huge fan of Splendor. However, there is the new Marvel version that I would be willing to try.
Oh yeah. Oh, you haven't actually played this version of it?
I know I've played the original, but not the Marvel one.
Oh, okay. So you get these big giant poker chips here.
Yep.
And they are hefty. They just feel really good, very tactile. It's just
the
engine building game. Is that
the whole game just playing with those poker chips? It's a ton of fun. I love that.
Now I've got in the box here. It's I can barely get the box closed because I've had the expansions in here. I've got the broken token insert to hold it all.
Yeah.
And I find that I don't play with the expansions that often, to be honest, because I just want to go for the base game.
Whenever I've played, it's generally just been the base game.
Yep. I mean, sometimes we'll throw in the different end game options, I think they're called cities.
Yeah.
That just makes it, just for a little bit of flavor if you're playing multiple games back to back. But usually I'm playing it with new people, and it just works so well. This insert is garbage. In fact, it's broke when I first got. That's the reason I bought the broken token insert, because it busted this cheap flimsy plastic. But
and the base game you could fit down into a box that's less than half the size of this.
You could, yeah. So Splendor is a great game. This is one that I would say it could be a gateway game. It's one that I think would
absolutely is
perfect for new people to try out getting into board games. It's you're building your engine up, trying to get the most points, or trying to be the first to 15. And it's just it's easy, it's fun, it's a great starting game. So that is
there's a picture of the whole game right there.
Yeah, this is like what you're saying. You can fit it
Yeah.
all in one box. In
Absolutely.
the little corner of the box.
Such a waste.
But it's a blast. I love it.
Yeah,
It's beautiful. The components. It's cheap. It's accessible. You can get it anywhere. It's easy to get to the table. It's easy to teach. It's not a long play, and so that's why I put this one on my list as number 10. Is it the 10 best game? I don't know, but it's my number 10 because I think it's just got so much going for it. That is my number 10, Splendor.
That's awesome.
All
All
right.
right, so my number 10. So this has the 8-bit gaming feel, right? It's not
So these are
really
not video games necessarily. They're games that feel
like an
like
arcade.
arcade.
Like
Okay.
playing not, and there's going to be some leeway here, but this one is definitely has that 8-bit feel. It's not any specific 8-bit game, but it is Boss Monster.
Boss Monster. Okay.
Have you played this?
I have somebody who wants to play it with me, and I have not actually got it to the table.
So it takes its inspiration from like 8-bit dungeon crawling type games, right?
It's a good pick.
It's like a 2 to 4 player, but what I liked about it is that you're building this amazing dungeon trying to entice heroes to come in so you can squash them.
Oh my goodness. I love the artwork being like this 8-bit art.
And it totally has that. And it even has that side scrolling feel to it. Just the way you lay out the dungeon, you can see it there in the cards. It really is a really neat idea because they'd really been kind of the first ones to do this 8-bit experience kind of thing in a board game or card game. And it really has that feel that you would expect from an arcade game.
So is this a deck building game?
No, it's a dungeon building game, so to say, where you have to, like I said, entice the different adventurers to come to your lair.
The fool is lured to the dungeon of the player.
And then once they're there, you have to dispose of them, right? Because, I mean, you are the boss monster after all.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's really you're competing with everybody at the table to build the most attractive dungeon, really.
And again, this is another one that's very accessible. I think I've seen this at Target too.
Oh yeah, it should be very accessible
and inexpensive too. It's mostly, I mean, it's just all cards, right?
It's mostly cards, yeah. And again, it totally has that. I mean, any of this you'd see on an arcade machine, right? Kind of thing.
There he is, right there, little box. Okay, great. That's an awesome pick.
Okay, what's your number 9?
Oh goodness, what is my number? I gotta look at the list. My number 9. What? Actually, my number 9 is Splendor because I'm already screwing this list up.
Wow!
I put number 9 as Splendor, so
this
my
is
number 10
live stream right here.
So you already saw my number. These, and honestly, these two are interchangeable. You could make either one, right? So, and this one, I don't think I have the box here, but I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up on BGG. And it is called Space Base.
Oh yeah, Space Base. That's awesome. Space
Base. So let me pull this up. Space Base is
fantastic game.
What makes this one really cool to me is you're doing something on everyone else's turn.
Yes.
There's a lot of games where you do your turn and then you're just waiting for the next person to go around the table.
Fully engaged the whole game.
The whole game you're engaged because what happens is I roll the dice and then I get to do stuff. And then when you roll the dice on your turn, I still get to do stuff off of your dice rolls.
Yes.
And that's what, to me, makes this, you're always like, what'd you roll?
It's much like many of the roll and rights work that way as well, so.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Space Base it's fantastic. And what is there, like a Space Base big box now or something? I can't remember.
Yep. And I've got all the different little expansions that go with it. You got to get the fancy dice. Look, okay, I played this game during the COVID pandemic.
Okay.
And which the reason I bring that up is all of a sudden, for some reason, everyone's concerned about sharing dice. so
funny.
The nice thing about with the expansion, everyone gets their own set of dice. And so it's like you don't have to be like because you get those people that want to blow.
I don't mind using your dice, just don't breathe on me.
Well, no. What people will do is they'll do this. They'll be like, and then they'll blow. And then they'll be like, 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 and then they'll be like,
Oh,
And then they're like, I don't want to touch those
that's
dice.
valid. Okay, that's valid.
So everyone gets their own dice. You can do whatever you want, blow on your dice. I don't care. So, but
Right.
this is you get these boards and all these different cards, and basically whatever you roll, you can either combine your two dice, like a 6 and a 6 to a 12,
Yep.
or you can use them separately, and you get more coins and stuff that you keep track of on this little track, and then you buy more cards and you're building your engine. Again, this is another game that I think I'm good at, but I'm really not. Like I played this game with I think I played with Mike Parkinson and a couple of our other friends, and this was I just did so bad. Like I was at, I think, like maybe 0 when the game was over. You literally can get negative points in this game. It's so bad. Like the other thing that if you get this game, I do highly recommend you go on Etsy and buy these plastic overlays that you can put, because if you bump your board, these little cubes will float around, and then you'll be like, where was that? Was that on 8 or 9? I don't know. But you can get these little clear plastic overlays that you can set on top of the board that make your cubes and stuff not float around on your board. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
But a great game.
Yep.
Space Base. Very accessible.
I would say that's a better number 9 than Splendor.
Think so?
Yes.
I know the guy that he's like a COO or CFO or something for AEG lives near me, and I played this at his house too.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, real nice guy.
Nice. Cool.
But yeah, Space Base. There you go. That is my number 9, 10. I don't know. What are we going to call that now?
I figured in doing like an arcade sort of list that a lot of my games are going to end up being dexterity based. So number 9 is Flick 'em Up.
Oh no! Yes. I have no desire to play this game.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
I hate flicking games. Like, all right, let's show flicking. This is a pretty game, though.
It is. It's a beautiful game, and the cool thing is that you have scenarios and you have challenges, and you have a little puck that you flick across and either try to achieve knocking over something or not knocking over something. And then wherever it lands is where you'll move your figure, your meeple. And again, there's just various scenarios, and it's going to be very different on how you play based on the scenario you're playing. And you move around the town, and you'll shoot through the doorways and into the buildings. But it's a really neat, you got to knock the guy off the barrel and things like that. So it's an old West timey kind of feel, but it definitely has that arcade. I mean, it's a skill based game. Absolutely.
So did you play this on a table that has that sunken down?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, if I did this on my table, I'd be running all over the place.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a game table that I shoot with, right? And they have like a large version of this at conventions sometimes. So
oh no, that would be cool.
So, and there's expansions for it and so forth, but this game is just a ton of fun, and kids, oh my gosh, kids love it, right? So, and there's a real finesse about how you can't just wail on it and have it fly off the table like you were saying. You have to actually aim, and you have to be strategic about how you flick that puck. So, there's a lot of interesting, fun things about it, but it does have that arcadey feel to it, right? Again, a more tactile experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say I don't like flicking games, but come to think of it, a few months ago, my friend had me play a flicking game.
Which one?
But, I'm trying to remember. It was like a special ops type of game.
Oh.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. It was more like a dungeon crawl, but you were flicking with it. Like,
okay.
I can't think of what it's called. I probably could go back and look at my played games and tell you, but actually I was really enjoying it. Was one of those where I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't want to play a flicking game, but then once I started playing it, I'm like, yeah, got that.
So and as far as like a party game goes, this is the kind of party game I'd rather play, because everybody's up, everybody's moving around the table, they're getting down low, and they're like aiming and flicking the puck. It's so much fun.
Yep. So let's see. Tony C has a question here. He said,
Sure.
"Overlays. What is that?" So, he's talking about with space base. It's like a plastic. It's a clear plastic.
Clear. Yep.
Like it just you set it on top of your game board, and so it adds a second layer of depth to it. So if you have a cube that's just sitting on your game and you bump the table, that cube will slide, right?
Yeah.
So then now you don't know what that cube was supposed to be marking, if it's trying to mark a number on a tracker or something. But if you have this plastic overlay, then you can set the cube and it's got little holes for each individual spot, keeps things from jostling around. Very important if you're playing with an 11-year-old. Just pointing that out.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's not just bumping the table. If you reach over for a component or something and your arm like bumps your stuff, it can be a lifesaver. Trust me, I've got one for a game called Azul as well, which has the little tiles and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's a nightmare if you mess that game.
It is. Yep.
But these overlays save your life. So I don't know if that's going to help you with Flick 'em Up. Now, can you play this Flick 'em Up on felt, or is this you got to have a wood table pretty much?
Wood table definitely works better, but I played on my game mats, on my table.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, a slick surface, obviously. But then you have to adjust how you flick it, because if you're used to playing on a game mat, then the thing's going to fly away across the table.
And everyone's got their own, way that they do it, right? Their technique that works. Like some people do this, some people slide or flick it Oh man, that I tell you what though, if I was ever at a convention and you said, Jeff, let's play Flick 'em Up, I'd still play it with you, Mark.
Yes.
Okay, where are we at? Number 8. My number 8. And this is so for those tuning in late, Mark's doing the list of games that are an arcade vibe. Mine is my top 10. Number 8 is a game this game was hard to come by for a little while. When it first came out, it was like the price skyrocketed to like $150, and nobody could find this game for like 6 months. They had to reprint it, and I never thought I would come across. And then I played it in a game group. Someone brought it, and I played it like 4 times in a row because I was like, this game is amazing, and it really sold me on this company and this developer too. It is called
Wingspan.
Wingspan.
This is also very much a gateway game.
Yes. Yeah, it could be a gateway game.
We have in chat. Remember playing the old Avalon Hill and the old Dune, the old version of Dune that they had on it? Oh, it was so good.
Old Avalon Hill.
I remember playing it.
There may be a game in my list that was an Avalon Hill game, I believe.
Oh, look at you. Wow.
But we'll see. We'll see. But yes, let's look at Wingspan here real quick. Yeah. This has really cool components too.
Amazing, beautiful looking game.
In fact, even the rule book uses like linen finish you pick up the rule book and you're instantly like, whoa, the quality is amazing. It's like playing an iiRcade.
Yeah,
right.
It's totally
the quality is amazing.
And the thing is,
how I type that in there.
It's a game too that pulled people in who were just fans of birding, right? So it wasn't even like
you can learn from this. It's an educational game.
It is, and the eggs and everything you do. Now, I will tell you that because
don't eat the eggs.
I play so many big and heavy thematic games that when I first heard about this, people were like, "Oh my gosh, you got to play Wingspan! It's so amazing!" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm all right." So I finally play, and in the middle of the game, I remember saying, "So is this it?"
Oh no!
Because everyone had built it up so much for me.
It was too overhyped, right?
But it was too overhyped. But the thing is that it's a beautiful game, super accessible, and I think those are some really strong aspects because, especially if you're trying to pull new people into board gaming, it's a great one for that.
Yeah, and I even upgraded mine. I got rid of all these little
Oh, did you? Nice.
I got some Etsy ones, the little
acrylic ones. Yeah, nice.
Just adds a little bit more. But these little eggs.
I am all about upgrading game components. 100%.
Yep, absolutely. And I've done that, and that's what I do. The games that I know that I love that are gonna play a lot, and that need an upgrade, like I bling them out. And there's one in here that I probably spent more on the upgrades than the game itself.
Right.
But this it's funny if you every time you play this game with somebody, they look at the little eggs, and everyone I've played it with, and without a doubt, has said these look like candy.
They do.
The little
Absolutely
eggs,
do.
they look like little Easter candies or
And
something.
they're solid too, right? I mean, again, a game with a really, really nice tactile experience.
Yep. And this is another engine building game, right?
Yep, it totally is.
Yep. And it does take a little bit of explaining because it's not super intuitive at first what you're doing, because there's like,
especially
once
for
you-
new players, there is a little bit of a curve, but it introduces some concepts that are part of some more complex games. So
and it's a lot of fun. Like I said, you play it one time through, and then it's like you go, wow, and then suddenly you're like, let's play it again, and then let's play it again, and then let's play it again. This is one that you'll eat an entire game night playing that one over and over, just because it's so much fun. So that was my number 8.
Yep,
number 8. I gotta check the list. I'm gonna screw this up if I don't look at it. Number 8.
So
Wingspan.
number 8 for me is another dexterity-esque game.
Okay.
No flicking in this one.
All right.
And it is Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Right on. This game is wild. This is crazy one.
So
let me pull that up.
If you've for folks watching, if you've played something like Jenga, it's got that basic concept to it, except you have floors and you're building this obscene structure that you have to, and now that's the basic Rhino Hero, but you want Rhino Hero Battle.
Oh, Rhino Hero Battle. Okay,
Super Battle.
Rhino Hero.
So you're using cards and planks to build out this crazy structure, and then you have to roll dice and move your character up and up as the scales up the buildings that you've created. And then if you happen to land on the same floor as someone else, you have a roll off to see who goes up and who goes down. So it's all about getting to the top of the tower and so forth. But it is so much fun. This game is incredibly fun.
This reminds me of like when you used to stack like playing cards and build like a house of cards.
It totally has that.
It's just like that.
This what's so much better about this one than the basic version is the fact that you have all these crazy planks that you put across, and you can have odd angles, and it just becomes this huge thing that gets built over time, and the monkeys hang off the edges of things, and it is totally a balance, and you try to not be the one that knocks everything over.
and this is a game, I mean, what age group does this play? Like this goes down to like,
oh yeah, I mean you could get definitely a great one for kids.
It says 5 to 99. And I believe that. That's true. And Haba makes a lot of games that are super family friendly.
Amazing things for kids. But this is one of those kid games that I would play in a heartbeat. It is so much fun because again, it's another just experiential type game, right? You're up, you're off the table, you're talking, you're looking at angles, you're getting low, you're looking up high. It's just fantastic.
There you go. There's a little kid playing it.
Yep.
Very cool.
That was my number 8.
Number 8. Now what makes you feel like this one is a arcade vibe?
Because you're building a 3-dimensional play area, right? And it's got that, kind of a Tetris-y feel to it because you have to put the pieces just, and fit them. And you're trying, well, in this one, you're trying to not knock things over, but in general, it's King of the Hill as well, right? So it definitely has, again, for like video gamers, it has that more experiential type of gaming. So
an experience too, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Yes.
That was 8. That was your number 8.
What's your number 7?
Number 7, and now we're getting into. I actually really like cooperative games.
Oh, me too. 100%.
I find that cooperative games, the camaraderie, the excitement when you win, when you lose, everyone's just kind of on the same team, and you're all shooting for the same goal. You're strategizing together. I really like that, and so I've got several cooperative games on this list. One of them is one that I waited for a long time for this Kickstarter. and it finally came out. Of course, I got all the upgrades, deluxe everything, right? Because Mark Streed told me to get that.
Yes.
Right? So this one is
Oh, so good.
Atlantis Rising.
Oh, it's
Oh
such
my
a good game.
goodness. It's amazing. It's everything I thought it was going to be when I
So,
got it.
quick story on that is that I was going to do a preview for that for the new version, but
Yeah.
due to all kinds of shipping errors, a ton of their packages got lost, sadly. So it ended up not getting to me in time to do a preview. So, but I was super pumped because that game is so good.
Oops, I typed in the wrong version. There is an older version of this game.
Yes.
This is a remake of it.
The new one is much better, actually.
I never played the old one. I saw Z Garcia did a video on it.
Z is a huge, huge fan of it.
I fell in love with it when I saw his version, and I'm like, I have to get. But it was like out of print. You couldn't find it anywhere.
Yep.
But then I heard about they're going to make a remake of it, and I'm like, whoa, okay, this is I got to get this. So here's the premise of this game, guys. The island is sinking. So if you've ever played a game like a worker placement game, that's what we call these, where you're taking your workers and putting them out there. That's what this is, but you're trying to place them out without them falling in the water, right? Because as the island sinks, you're flipping the tiles over. Let me see if I can show a picture of this. Then the artwork, oh my gosh. Dutrait is just an amazing artist, Vincent Dutrait. So everything looks beautiful. So this is what the island looks like. And each one of these little pieces here gets flipped over, starting from the outside, and it moves up. And so it's this tension that builds as you're playing the game. As you're like, oh no, we're losing too many tiles on this part of the board. And so you're trying to collect all the different resources that you need to build this. I don't know, what is it, like a time machine or something that you're building? I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's basically that, right?
Yeah, and oh my gosh, and the components in this version of the game are
so much better, so good. Yeah.
Oh, but it's a cooperative game. You're working together, and so you're like, well, okay, if I do this, will you be able to fill in this piece for me when you're coordinating with people. And it's just so much fun. The components are great. The gameplay is great. It plays quick. It's not too difficult to teach somebody. I got the game mat too, so it even looks like the ocean. When you set the pieces down, like I don't even like flip them over. I just take them off. Yeah, because the ocean is just it's so good. Again, it's another one of those games. I'm not afraid to bling it out.
This one definitely has a bit more of a learning curve than your other ones that you showed.
Yeah, this is probably maybe not necessarily a gateway game.
No, it's definitely a medium weight game. And you really
a next step, right?
Yeah, it's a next step.
I'd say like once you've tried a few games that are specifically like worker placement type games, maybe like Stone Age or Asking for Troubles or something like lower weight, easier. And then if you say, hey, I really like that style of game, this might be a next step if you want to do worker placement with cooperation.
Asking for Troubles is really a good game too.
But yes, it is, especially if you like the color orange.
Yes, it's awesome.
So that would be, in fact, if you're like, I want to try a worker placement game and I'm new to gaming, I'd say Asking for Troubles would be a better starting. But for me to make my top 10 list, Atlantis Rising, I think is a better game to me.
Oh, absolutely is. Yeah.
So, but I definitely think this is an awesome game. I'm always happy to play it. See, this is the playmat that I was telling you about. So you can take the pieces off and it just still looks like the ocean around there. Super cool, super fun game. There's a lot going on, a lot of replayability, a lot of strategizing, different ways that you can go with it. That's my number 8.
Nice.
Atlantis Rising. What's your number 8, Mark?
Wait, I think that was your number 7.
You're right. That's my number 7. It's so funny because Retro Ralph always gets on my case about not reading the chats correctly and everything. I can't even read a top 10 list correctly. So.
Right. Oh, there's a great question from Tony in chat there.
Okay, what do we got? Is it me or I never saw any of these games at Toys R Us as a kid? So,
well, of course not. These are all modern games.
So, Tony, let me put it to you this way. If I was to ask somebody about like video games, and they say, "Oh yeah, Frogger, Pac-Man, you know, Tron," and they start mentioning all these games like that. Like those are classics, right? To us, that's like saying Monopoly, Scrabble, Risk. They're classics, right? But if you say, okay, well, what about modern video games, right? Things like Retromania Wrestling
Yep.
or, Call of Duty or World of Warcraft or whatever. These are modern video games. There's so much more going on in these games than the Pac-Mans and the Froggers of the world. That's what these games are like compared to like the Monopolies and the Scrabbles and the Risks. I guess that's the analogy that I would draw is these are so much different. And of course, this was a 2019 game, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Or at least the reprint was. So of course, you're not going to see this when you're a kid. So
yeah.
those old Parker Brothers. Basically, if you can find the game on your Arcade 1-Up Infinity game table, it's probably not going to be on either of our lists.
Right.
I think that's a fair thing. So,
all right. So
great question.
My number 7 is another skill-based game, another great one for families and kids. It is Ice Cool.
Oh, I played this one. This is a flicking game.
It is a flicking
and I have
game.
played it, and it's a blast. So maybe I don't hate flicking games as much as I think.
So the cool thing about this too is that the box that it comes in has the kind of the shape of the old school board games, but you open it up and all the inner pieces come out to build the board. And you have these little penguins that are kind of weighted on the bottom, and you have to flick them and do all these crazy bank shots and move them around the different areas, collecting fish. And then once you have the fish and move them through the right area, you get a new card that you get to go get more fish and score higher points and so forth. So you can see that you have all the different boxes there, and they all do combine to build the main board. So
I thought that was cool. The box is the play field, basically.
Yes,
right?
It is. And you truly, because of how the penguins are weighted, how you can get amazing spinning bank shots
He's
through
up
the
on
different
top
openings.
of the fish here.
Yeah.
Look at
Well, I've seen that actually happen.
That's
but you actually can spin it through, and you have to get it through the archways where you have fish, and then you collect fish and you get points at the end of the game and so forth. So yeah. It's pretty simple concept, easy to get onto. But again, it's a game that you're up off the table. Everybody's laughing. This is definitely the type of, again, experiential gaming that I really like.
You got to be able to stand up and walk around the table on this one because you got to get different angle. And I've seen some crazy shots with this game where you're like over in the side and you're like, okay, I got to get through this door and through the next door, and I can hit that guy over there. And it's just, you can get some wild shots that's going to make you go, whoa, and, lots of screaming. I played this one at a library, actually.
Oh, that's cool. Well, that's
just not a good place to play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Tony's response. He's like, he didn't know anybody besides Jeff that plays board games as an adult. Well, Tony, I play board games for a living.
That's right. You might have missed the beginning of the show. He works for the Dice Tower doing preview games for Kickstarter.
Preview videos for Kickstarter games. And really not just Kickstarter games, but published games, any crowdfunding type games and so forth. So anyway, that's my number 7, Ice Cool.
It is definitely a fun game.
Oh my gosh. It is a ton of fun.
I like it. Good pick.
All right, what's number 6?
Number 6 is a game. Now, this is exact opposite of a cooperative game. This is a cutthroat. This can be a mean game. So I play this one with family.
That's interesting.
But hear me out. This is a great game, and this is definitely a gateway game. And so I would say a lot of people that are watching probably have heard of Yahtzee.
Yep.
If you like Yahtzee and you like monsters, then you probably would like.
Oh yes,
King of Tokyo.
It's fantastic. This is a great gateway game, actually. And again, it's a good one for kids because you have big tactile dice. The dice are huge, oversized. So
they're giant. They're just, it
Yep.
feels so good to roll these big dice. And
Yeah.
it's the Yahtzee mechanic. You're rolling the dice
totally.
and you're like, okay,
100%. But it's also King of the Hill. It's also King of the Hill, though.
Yeah, exactly. King of the Hill. And you can attack each other. That's what I meant. So you can get pretty mean in this. You can be like, oh, well, Uncle Ben is on top of the hill. Let everybody punch him in the face, you know? So you win by either getting, you know, a set amount of points or being the last man standing. You just kill everybody else.
Yep. And there's so many expansions with so many great cards that come into play that you can use to augment your abilities and so forth. So
now there's a new version that just came out, I think.
Yeah.
Just came out as in a few years ago.
Well,
I've got the old version. This is the old.
They're always like adding new things to it and revamping it and so forth. So,
and this says 8 and up. You can play it with younger than that. I think the only reason
if you just play the base part and not all the extra cards that add abilities, you could easily play it with. Because you have the really cool dials and things for keeping score for your characters and so forth. So.
What would make it for me is you, and you'd have to gauge your kids a little bit. If you're playing with younger than 8, can they handle a mean game, right? Can they handle the, you know, if, you know, their dad punches them in the face, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, not literally, come on guys. But you know, the components are great. The artwork is cool. It's a very simple to teach game. Let's see if I can get some game picture of actual game, and the artwork is cool.
This one almost made my list just because it's a beat 'em up, you know.
Yeah, this could have you could say this has an arcade feel. So
absolutely does.
You got when you roll these dice, you're trying to get either a series like no, you're trying to get like threes, like 3-3-3 or 2-2-2, or the hearts will heal you if you're not in Tokyo. Or the claws are like attacks, so you can. So you got to kind of decide: do you need heals? And maybe you keep the hearts and you re-roll again using that Yahtzee mechanic.
Right.
So you've got some decisions to make, but there's also the luck of the roll too, and then you can earn these little cubes that look like Jello jigglers or something.
Yeah, they're really cool actually.
And you get those as currency to buy these cards. And the cards will give you more special powers. And that's like you were saying, if you're playing with younger kids, just leave that out, right? Well, actually, you can get special ability cards too, which are part of an expansion. You'd probably leave that out too. But yeah, it's King of the Hill meets Yahtzee. You know, it's pretty simple to play. Once you go through it, you know, a round or two, everyone will get it, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I get how this works. And it's just easy if you just take your turn first and then just say, hey, look, I'll show you. I'll go first, and then everybody can kind of go. And you're moving people in and out of Tokyo. You're punching each other. It's just a lot of fun. I have just found that this goes over really well with new people. I don't know why. It's just easy to pick up, easy to learn. It's a lot of fun. So there you go. King of Tokyo, definitely one that I would recommend, even for new people to the hobby. It's a very simple game.
Yeah, and as far as beat-up games go, there is an actual Street Fighter miniatures game, and
I have it. It's right here.
You have it? Okay. I have not
played it yet.
If I had played it, it probably would be on this list, but I have not played it. So,
I remember talking to Mike Parkinson about that. We both backed it, and he's like, "You backed it too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I backed it too." Well, I backed it with just the characters that I knew, which were like, you know, just the basics. Mike went in like all out, like he bought like all the different. He must have spent $300 on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It was, but yeah, I waited for that one for a long time, and yeah, I was wondering if that would make your list actually.
Yeah, if I had played it, it would have, but it's not. I have not played it, so
I've got it right in reach. Actually, look at that.
Nice.
Boom.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game as well, and the miniatures are amazing.
Oh well, it's worth it just for the miniatures,
right?
I mean, the miniatures are just so cool. I showed them off one time on stream when I got this, and I do intend on, you know, I'm going to make a video on that someday.
Yeah.
Someday when I actually play the game, I think I should probably play it first, right?
Yeah,
it might be good content for my channel just because of that. Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah. So my number 6
Council Fanboy knows that. He said Angry Joe is genius. He's the one that did that. He
Yeah.
wants the Mortal Kombat version. Now that would be
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
yeah. So that was my number.
Where
Where did we leave off? King
That
of
was your
Tokyo, number
6.
6. So you're number 6.
My number 6. So this one is a direct a video game app game. So it is Fallout Shelter, the board game, and it is just like the app. It is 100%. And the rooms, the complex, are cards that you lay out in front of you, but it has that same view that you have in the app.
And you've got all had this game.
Yeah, they've got all the resource management that you have to do. You've got cards that are clear that overlay the different rooms with the different creatures and things that you have to deal with. And you've got all your little miniatures of the little thumbs up guy.
Nice.
So it's fantastic. It is It is one of the best conversions from an app, a video game, to a board game. I mean, it really does play almost exactly like the app.
This looks like a lunchbox.
Yeah, it's in this beautiful tin. It's in a tin, and they did the production level on it is just amazing. Everything about it is just so well done.
I had no idea this game even existed, Mark.
Oh my gosh, you have to check it out. It's so good.
It's got the little green smiley faces.
It does. Okay. And you've got all the resources that you're managing in your little player boards there. And you're building out the complex and so forth. So it really is that. It's really the same game.
You're winning over Tony C now. He says his wife might like the Fallout Shelter game.
It is, and it really plays really, really well. It is a bit of that worker placement. Again, you're putting figures out on different spots. They're going to do different things for you to get different resources and build out and fix your complex, from burning down, basically.
Nice.
So, yeah. But it's fantastic. It is really, really well done.
Fallout Shelter, the board game.
Yep.
Very cool.
So my number 6.
I like it. I'm going to have to check that one out, actually. I might have to write that. I'll write that down. You're horrible. Why do I feel like this video is going to cost me money somehow? I don't know.
That's my whole goal.
All right. Now, this one. Oh, in fact, my daughter's right here, too, and I played this with her, and she loved it. I'm live right now, though, honey. Yeah, thank you. She keeps coming in. This game is
this your number 5?
Oh, where are we? No, hold on. I'm skipping ahead again. I'm skipping ahead. Right. Okay. Oh, I don't have my number 5. So my number 5, I don't even own this game.
Okay, no worries.
My number 5, I played with my friend Trevor at his house. Now, I'm not a big Marvel. Now, first of all, don't unsubscribe. Everybody's like, "Oh, unsubscribe." He doesn't like Marvel.
Wow.
I don't know superhero movies and stuff. They don't get. But I played this game. He's like, "Hey, you want to play this game? I got the Kickstarter. It's a cooperative game. I like cooperative games." And I'm like, whatever. I don't hate. I don't dislike. I'm just not like all like every time a new Marvel movie comes out, I go crazy. But like this game, we played this game and I loved this game. And we played it because I play every Tuesday with my friend Trevor. And
nice.
We played 3 or 4 weeks in a row because we had so much fun and we wanted to try the different characters and stuff. It is Marvel United.
Oh, yeah.
The Infinity Gauntlet. So this game.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this clicks so well with me. Now, I will say this. I don't think you should play this game without the playmat. The playmat on this is amazing. It's big, huge, round, stunning.
Now, how do you feel about the little chibi characters, though?
I love them. I love the little chibi characters.
People don't really like that, but I think the gameplay wins them over.
See, this doesn't do it justice without the playmat. This just doesn't look
not
right.
At all.
No,
playmat is so much better.
Is there a picture in here with the playmat? I hope I can find a picture with the playmat. But this game, and so of course my friend Trevor had to get all the different expansions. So he's got 500 different characters for this thing. And you get all the little miniature characters. Look at this gauntlet and everything. Yep. But you can play, I think there's even like Ninja Turtles that you can
all
put in this.
Yep.
Um,
All kinds
and
of expansions, all kinds of heroes and such to add.
these are all just pictures of the gauntlet.
And this was at Target as well.
Was it?
Yep.
I bet it is. But yes, but if you buy it at Target, go online to like Miniature Market or Cool Stuff Inc. or one of these and get the playmat. I'm sure you can buy it third party now. It might have been a Kickstarter exclusive.
I haven't looked, but hopefully it's available.
But it's not a hard game to learn. I think this could be a game for starting out, like a gateway game.
Oh yeah, it's not that difficult to learn at all.
And it's not a very long game, really. It's pretty quick. But what's cool about it is you're playing the cards out, and your cards that you play affect the next person down the line, right? So you almost can say, well, yeah, but if you play that, then I can use that for my move. And you're trying to whittle down these different things on, and it's almost got like a little bit of a pandemic type of feel to it, where there's the different locations, and you're always trying to
manage
it. You got to balance everything, and it's a blast. So I think even if you're like me and you're not a huge Marvel fan, don't let that discourage you from this game, because it is a really, really fun game.
Yeah,
it made my number 5. So nice. and without being a Marvel fan. And I don't own it, but that's only because my friend spent hundreds of dollars on his copy, and I play it with him all the time. So
nice.
Marvel United, that's my number 5.
All right. Well, my number 5 is a direct, old school arcade game. It has been renamed, sadly. It is Rampage, that was renamed to Terror and Meeple City. But they did. I actually own the Rampage version. So.
Oh. What? There's a version that's actually Rampage version?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let me find this. Rampage. This is an old game, though, isn't it? No, the Rampage is a newer one.
No, the Terror in Meeple City is the newer one.
2013. Okay, well, here, I found Terror in Meeple City. Oh, it's got pictures of Rampage on here, too.
It does. Okay. So, yeah, that's what it's been renamed to. But it's Rampage. I mean, you've got amazing buildings, layers of buildings that you're building, and it is another flicking type game, but it's more than that, because you will flick and knock stuff over. You're trying to demolish everything, just like in Rampage.
Right.
But you actually have
blowing on it.
You have blowing. You have to put your chin on the top of your creature and blow.
That's actually part of the game, to blow on it.
Part of the game.
Oh my goodness!
It's colorful. It's a ton of fun. Every time we played it, it's just been a blast. And it's, again, about knocking over the most stuff and getting those points. You collect the meeples and so forth. So
I am shocked I didn't think of this, that as being on your list.
Absolutely. Number 5.
That's pretty cool. And this was one that I think even Tom Vassell made a video a long time ago.
Oh yeah, a long time. I mean,
it's saying how much he loved this game.
It's so good. And it truly is. I loved that it was originally Rampage. I mean, they had the box cover for it and everything.
I thought I saw it. It said, oh, here we go. Rampage. Oh, well, you can kind of see the box.
Yep, that's kind of what it was. So, yeah. Good. It was just, it's really.
But if you wanted to find it nowadays, you'd look for Terror in Meeple City, right?
Terror in Meeple City.
Okay. Yeah. And that's probably not one you're going to see in the stores. You'd have to go onto a website. You got
to find it elsewhere. For sure.
You could probably find some of the stuff on Amazon. I'm not a huge fan of buying board games on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you get knockoffs of stuff that's cheaper quality from Chinese.
And you gotta be careful.
But I would, recommend websites like Miniature Market, Cool Stuff Inc., Game Nerds, Board Game Co. I think, any of those.
Yep.
Would be great places you could probably find it on any one of those. So.
Yep.
Cool. All
right. What's your number?
Terror in Meeple City. Rampage.
Terror in Meeple City. All right. What's your number 4?
Okay, number 4. Now this is the one that I play with my daughter, but actually I played this one. I played this one at a convention.
Okay.
And we played it late at night, and it was just. I had the most fun playing this game. I think probably to me, it's when you think back of like your most fun experiences,
Mhm.
like you remember, I remember playing that game with these
Right.
people. This is one of them. And actually this version is a newer version of it.
Oh yeah. So
Spectre
my good friend
Ops.
Emerson, I know
Yeah.
Emerson really well. So he designed this game. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite hidden trader type games, right? So
Yeah, tell us a little about this. I'm going to pull it up here. This
yeah,
actually
so
this is
you have the
Broken Covenant. I
oh
don't really like I don't really uh like one version over the other, the original
sure,
version they both are cool. All that is really different is a slightly different map and different
yeah.
characters.
So you have a
Um,
map and you're working with a team to find the spy who's secretly moving around, and they've got their own version of the map where they're marking out their location, and you might see them run across somewhere, and you have to hunt them down and corner them basically, or they have to escape to win. So it's you versus one. It's one versus many kind of type game.
right. So you can play it with two people, but it's really more fun with like three, four, five people.
Yeah, really max player count is a
And the
ton of
board, actually the board has uh
really fun spots where you actually put in
some
like
problems on it too.
yeah,
Some errors on the original one, but
yeah,
it's okay. So there's like different. So there's doors on
yep,
one side of this, and they have to. So the one person that is is it the spy or
spy or the
the one person that is on their own team, right?
yep,
They have hidden movement. They have their own pad of paper, and they're writing down their moves on this paper that nobody else can see what they're doing. Much like Letters of Whitechapel or
yes.
Scotland Yard kind of a thing.
This is
But
done way better than those though.
I think so.
Yep,
Yeah, and the rest of the people are trying to catch that person, and they all have special powers, like
yep.
where that help them in triangulating and coordinating to find this.
And
But
they're all very unique powers between the
yeah,
group. Yeah.
and the one person that is doing the hidden movement also has a few tricks up his sleeve too, that he can sometimes do like a smoke screen or whatever and to try and escape, but he's got to reach certain points, like I think like two of the three or three of the four or something that he's got to get to, and then when he gets there he's like reveals, I've got this, and so everyone's like, oh no, how did he get over there? And then you're trying to and it is a brain buster because
Yeah.
you're all like, well, he couldn't be here because two
Right.
turns ago he was over there.
Yep.
And this, it can become a really long game
You can.
because
Yep.
you if you really are strategizing really close with all of your teammates.
I like the werewolf.
That is my favorite because the
Yep.
werewolf can smell.
Yes.
He can like use his sense to smell if he's within a certain range, and that really helps because you're constantly in this battle of like narrowing it down to like, okay, well, he's got to be in one of these spots, but based on what you said, he could either be here, here, or here, but if he went this way, he could be here.
Yep.
And so you got to take some risks to go, I think he would have gone this way, and
Yep.
so you try, and then you end up either being wrong or you land right on top of them and reveal them, and then you take some swipes at them, and
Yep.
oh my gosh, it's
So
just
good.
it's so tense, and that guy's happy. So
It's such a
so
good game. It's such a good game.
such a good game. It is. I don't know. I can't recommend this enough. This is one of those sweet games I slept on it for quite a while because I remember Sam and Tom and Z, the guys that work with you or worked with you at the Dice Tower, always talking about this game, and I was just like, does it sound interesting? Whatever.
Yeah.
And then I played it at the convention. I'm like, this is amazing.
It's
It's
amazing.
so much fun. So
Yep.
much fun. That's my number, whatever. What is it? Where are we?
That's
My number four, Spectre
All right.
Ops. What's your number four?
My number 4 is another direct old school arcade. It is Space Invaders.
I just picked that one up. I have not
Nice.
played it yet.
So this is
I thought this would
basically
make your list.
yeah. It's not really a flicking game, but you do have a little catapult that you put like your shots in or little discs, and you'll flick them at the board, which you're trying to hit the Space Invaders moving down, and you have a series of cards that fit in the lanes as they come down, and you have the large mothership that sits at the top, and you want to do damage and flick stuff into that too. So it's just Space Invaders, but on a board game. And there's the little catapult. But yeah, there's the mothership.
So it's a flicking. So this kind of reminds me of like, have you ever played a really old game called Mr. Mouth?
Oh
You
my
know what I'm
gosh.
talking about?
Yes,
That's
I do.
old, like from the 70s, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got a little thing and you're flicking these discs trying to get him into his mouth, but like it seems like this is a similar type of mechanic. But man, Space Invaders. So I picked this up at Target.
Yep.
And I haven't got it. I want to play this on stream because I think there's a 1-player mode, right?
Oh yeah, you could totally do that.
Look at the little catapult, and you're shooting at this.
You're shooting. It's awesome.
There's some skill involved in that,
there
right?
Is. It's so good. It's just, again, another tactile, straight up video game experience.
And this is flip ships, right?
And
it's just re-skinned.
So before, years ago, they did a game called Flip Ships, which was pretty much the same thing as Space Invaders. But now they actually have the license to do this, and it's fantastic.
Look at you build this little.
Yeah,
so that's like the end boss.
Mothership. You got it.
Oh my goodness!
It's so well done, actually. Really,
I can't wait. I really want to. I'm going to get this out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a video. Should I do this live or should I pre-record this and make an idiot of myself if I do it?
Oh, no, you should do it live.
Play it live. I think that'll be fun. That's definitely going to come down the road, guys. I promise. I'll make a Space Invaders live stream. And you guys can watch as I shoot the little discs off the table.
Yeah, I was going to do, when the iiRcade version of Space Invader releases, I was going to do a combo review with the board game and the iiRcade machine.
That would be cool. That'd be good. That'd be really good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't wait for the iiRcade version of this to come out.
So, yeah. Anyway, so that's my number 4. What's your number 3?
I would pay to see Jeff Blow. He must be. I'm so far behind here. He must have still been talking about the cowboy game, the flicker.
Oh, yeah. Maybe so.
CF, did you see the tier ranking for arcade 1-up? Okay, all right. Moving on. All right, where are we at? Number 3. Okay, now number 3, I don't have. In fact, I might have the 3rd edition, which my brother-in-law owns, and I've been holding on to it. And I don't know where I put it, which is a hard game to lose because it's huge. But I like the 4th edition better. This is a game that is another experience type of game, and it's called Twilight Imperium, the 4th edition specifically.
Oh my gosh. So you should tell people right now that if they jump into this game,
this is why I said that at the beginning of this video.
Expect a day of learning and then another full 8 to 10 hours of gameplay.
Okay, I will say so. My friends, so we do this 6 players. We play this before the pandemic. We play this like once a quarter. We would all get together and make an entire day out of it.
Once a year game for me.
Yeah, it's a huge game. You need a gigantic table to play this.
Yep.
And you need to have everybody educated on how to play the game before you show up.
Exactly.
So what we did is we actually had our group, we had a little email chain going, and prior to the first game, the host was sending us little snippets saying, okay, in this phase, this is how this phase plays out. Here's a little video. Okay, and then a few days later they'd send another video. Okay, the next phase is like this, and this is how. So it's a lot to wrap your head around, and you definitely don't want to play this with all new people. You need somebody there that's played it before, that knows how to get the game going. But this is a game that is probably, in my opinion, one of the, if not the biggest, most grandiose, epic feeling events that you can do as a board gamer, because we would start this game at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and it would be like closing time for the game store. They're like, guys, it's like 10 p.m. You guys need to start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
It'll take you
an hour to tear the game down.
Yep. I mean, the whole setup can take you an hour just to set this.
Yeah, totally.
This is what the game looks like when you get it going.
It's
This is
insane.
probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. This looks like a 5-player game. Maybe wait,
It's
yeah,
just off
5-player.
the charts. This game is off the charts.
It is. Is this what do they call this, a 4X?
Oh,
No.
easily.
Well, yeah, it's you have these fleets and you're just expanding them out. Some of the different characters are diplomatic, some of them you're trading, some of them are heavy into war.
Attacking, yeah.
You can have these giant fleets right next to each other, but they don't want to fight each other because it's almost like, I know if I attack you, then Sam is going to be the biggest beneficiary because we're going to eat away at each other. And he's going to be over here just laughing it up, right? So, but you create these alliances with people. There's so much of the game that is outside of the game. You know, I've had situations where we have guys that'll say, hey Jeff, can we go talk in the other room for a minute? And they'll go, you know, 2 people go walk away for 5 minutes and have a conversation to scheme up some partnership. Like, well, if I do this, then will you do that? And it's like, it blows your mind how big of it's. That's why I said this is an experience.
Yeah.
This is something that
this is
you'll never forget.
Get together for a weekend somewhere and play it kind of thing.
Right. So, like you said, not a game for new gamers. not at all. This is experienced board gamers only. Yeah. It would ruin the experience for everybody if you brought someone new in.
No doubt.
You definitely need to know what you're getting into for this one. But if you're ready to take that plunge, maybe you've played a lot of smaller games. You feel like, hey, I've been playing games for a long time. I really want to try one of these games that's just going to be an all-day thing. Get 5 other people together. Get somebody who's played it before. Learn the rules ahead of time, and you will have a blast with this. Now, hopefully, you have a blast. If you don't like it, you're stuck playing this for like 10 more hours. So, you know, but order a sub sandwich, get some pizzas or something, and just make a Saturday out of it. It's a lot of fun. Twilight Imperium 4th edition. I've played both 4th and 3rd. 4th is much better. It streamlines a lot of stuff. Definitely a fun game that I can't wait till the next time we can play this again. The pandemic hit and we haven't got together lately, but we used to play this, like I said, every quarter I would drive 2 miles down to Tacoma and we would all get together at a game store, and it was we make a weekend of it. So that is my number 3, Twilight Imperium 4th edition.
My number 3 is a beat 'em up, but also a first-person shooter. It is Adrenaline.
Adrenaline. Okay, I think I've heard of this one.
Oh my gosh, this game, I love this game. So this is all about, it feels very much like an Unreal Tournament, but you're in an arena, you're trying to find all kinds of weapons, you have spawn points, you're taking people out, literally taking their character down to 0. And if you deliver, like, you get different points based on what level how much damage you did. Like if you did the most damage, you get a certain number of points and so forth. And what's really great, the thing that keeps people from just going after you every time is the fact that you are worth less points after you respawn. So then you're going after somebody who's still worth the maximum points. So you run around, you're collecting ammo, you're collecting all kinds of different weapons. You've got these really cool pieces for marking the points where you hit somebody on their boards. You're actually putting your pieces on their boards to show the damage you've performed on them. So it is just one of my favorite all-time games. I love it. It is so good. It truly has that Unreal Tournament flavor feel to it. 100%.
I can totally see that. So arena. So what do you use to determine the damage? Are you rolling dice, or is
Nope, no dice. You just have weapons that do damage, and you're either close range. You're doing there's some weapons that fire across the map. It's just about if you have the ammo and the weapon, and it's not exhausted, you do that damage. So
this guy painted up all the minis.
Yeah, mine are painted as well, which are awesome. So Roy from the Dice Tower painted mine for me.
Oh
So
yeah, he does good work.
he does amazing work.
I'm not a painter. I can't.
I
That's
wish
a
I
whole
was good
hobby
at it.
in and of itself.
I am not a painter. I wish I was, but yeah. So yeah, Adrenaline, my number 3. So good.
Adrenaline. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that one down too.
It is amazing. The game
I
just
feel like I've
so good.
seen this before, like someone's brought it to game night, but maybe I wasn't at that table or something.
It has a bit of a Euro-esque feel to it. You know, you have area control games. This is a bit of an area control game, but you're the area.
Nice.
And so many amazing weapons with cool icons to show you what kind of damage to do. And the more like ammo you have, the more damage you can do, and it'll have like do this or this kind of damage.
So
Like,
does it have like RPGs and flamethrowers and
oh yeah, all
really?
that.
Oh man. Okay. You're gonna sell me on it, Mark. I think
Yeah,
I might have
it's
to try
so
this.
good. You got to get it.
I
You
think
just love
Mike
it.
might have. I think Mike Parkinson had this one.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games.
Adrenaline. Okay. He's got it on top of
That's
him. Nerf
awesome.
gun.
So that's
Okay.
number
All
3.
right. That
All right.
looks amazing. I'm gonna have to check that one out. Okay.
Number
We're
2.
getting to the good stuff here. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2. This is another one that I blinged out like crazy. I got a gigantic game mat for this. It's another no, this is not a cooperative game. It's a worker placement game, but it's got. So I want to know if you consider this to be Ameritrash or Euro or
Okay.
somewhere in between. Okay, this is called.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, let me make it big here. There we go.
Champions of Midgard.
Champions of Midgard.
Fantastic game.
Oh my gosh, this is top tier games right here. If you like worker placement games, this is, I would consider this like a next step game, not an entry level, but maybe like a second.
Yeah, it's
level.
definitely more of a medium game. There's lots of options. If you're not used to having so many options in game, you can get a huge amount of analysis paralysis. But there's just
baggies for days. Okay,
there's so many things you can do to build up your points and so forth. So
this game, if you like rolling dice, guys, this is
awesome.
Oh, rolling dice. You got
dice. I'm a huge dice guy.
Metal coins.
Yep.
I've got blocks of wood. This is. I've even got little meeples that are shaped like Vikings. Okay, they look like Vikings, and I mean this game. I've blinged it out so much. I don't even know where to start. It's worker placement. I have the giant play mat for it too. It's a worker placement game, but here, let's pull up some pictures of it. Champions of Midgard. It's a worker placement game, but when you're doing the actions, like some of the actions will give you dice, and the dice are like your Vikings. And so then you can assign your Vikings to either like fight trolls, to defend the village, or to go onto boats to travel to fight sea monsters and stuff. So there's lots of different things that you can do. But the other cool thing is there's expansions up the wazoo for this thing. And one of the expansions is it makes it so real, because if you die, there's benefits that you get. Like you go to Valhalla, right? This is the play mat.
There you go.
It's huge. It's gigantic. But all these little white dots are like your different worker placement spots that you can go there to.
You do various tasks. There's all kinds of cards to access.
And then you have all your monsters down here, and then you got to try. There's secret cards that could be like a whirlpool or a sea monster or something that you might encounter like on the way there, which can make it harder. It's got a little bit of lots of stuff to it. Some of it feels a little bit like Stone Age. Some of it feels a little bit like other games. It's just, I don't even know where to begin. There's so much going on in this game. It is a little bit daunting to kind of teach this, and that's why I said it's not a beginner game. And
it's definitely not.
But it is a nice, if you're looking for a nice meaty worker placement. And like I said, I don't know if this is an Ameritrash game or if this is a work if this is a Euro game. I think it's somewhere. I think it's a little of both.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got the dice rolling and stuff,
it does.
but
Yep. I would say Ameritrash. Yeah.
do you think so?
Yep. I would, just because it has, the theme is truly strong in this one.
Yeah, the little Viking meeples. It's got everything in here. It's got Vikings. It's got gold coins. It's got fighting. It's got, and in fact, I even have one of these cards that has Jason from the Dice Tower.
The Dice Tower, yeah.
He is in the game as one of the cards. As a promo, so I've got him in the game. So
cool.
If you're a fan of Mark and the Dice Tower, one of the guys that's on the show a lot is Jason, and he's in this game. So a lot of fun, and each of the different colored dice do different things too. I mean, like some of the dice are better defense, some are better attack, that kind of thing. So and some of them you can use, like some of the trolls and stuff, you can't use certain dice against them. So you're always trying to there's a lot of thinking that goes into each decision you make of where you're going to put your meeples, and you're blocking other people from those spots too. So
right, totally.
Again, another game that I love playing, and I'm probably never going to win. So I don't know. That's it. I win a lot of games except for the ones that I like the most. So maybe that's a sign that the games that I like are the ones that I lose. So that's my number 2.
All right.
Everybody should play that game. Champions of Midgard.
So my number 2 is probably one of the most overproduced board games out there.
Monopoly? What?
It's campaign based. It's cooperative as well.
Oh no! Is this going to be a crossover? This might be a crossover.
Oh, maybe
this might be.
This is straight up from a video game. It is Mechs versus Minions. Yeah,
right here, Mark. This is my number 1 on my list.
Nice.
This is going to be Mark's number 2.
This was almost my number 1. Almost.
This box is gigantic, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought about this, and I thought, I wonder if Mark's going to put Mechs versus Minions on this. It's my favorite game, but I'll let you go first while I pull up.
It is absolutely in my top 5 favorite games. So my favorite game, though, is Too Many Bones, but this is definitely in the top 5. So again, it's fully just crazily overproduced.
But it's not expensive. I think it's like $75.
Because it's Riot Games, right? And they just subsidized the price of it, right?
Riot Games. So for those who don't know, League of Legends was their big hit game, and they kind of made this out of a passion for the game. I don't think they made a lot of profit on it, but it was.
Yeah, I don't think so. They actually brought like big game designers in to consult as they were fleshing out the gameplay. It's got programmable like things that you're doing. It is scenario based. You have to work together to move across this map to fight the minions and whatever the scenario calls for. There's giant creatures to deal with, or the giant mech. I forget what he's called.
In that box. Oh yeah, spoilers
right there.
Spoilers.
It is a bit of a deck builder as well, as you're putting cards together to optimize your things, everything you can do on your turn. And you can become damaged and suddenly spin in the wrong direction. All kinds of things like that.
Oh, it's hilarious when you start. There's always one guy on the team who's in the corner just spinning around. Yeah, and you're like, bro, you're going to come help us or what?
Totally damaged, totally broke.
Right.
I love everything in this game, from the player boards to the main board to the miniatures to all the metal coins and everything.
Oh.
Your miniatures and the big one there are all pre-painted, beautiful.
Yeah, you don't even have to paint. They look like that out of the box.
Even the small minions are like dry brushed or something, because they have texture to them, so to say.
Yeah.
So, but this game is so overproduced, but I love it, love it, love it.
I've played this so many times.
In a normal list, this would have been number 1 for me. But I was trying to get the final game to be more of an arcade thing.
Okay, all right. Well, this was my number. Yeah, so my number 1, Mechs versus Minions, guys. This is my favorite game of all time. Now, I gotta say, I have played this with 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players. It says that it does that. don't play it with those counts. Play it with 4 players
Play with four.
because
It's the best.
it's the best. You
It is
can't.
the best.
You have to kind of tweak things a little if you play with other than 4.
Yeah, I mean, it works with 3, but 4 is definitely the best.
Yeah, when we've done 3, we just had one person do 2, control 2.
Oh yeah, that works. I guess.
Because I feel it's balanced for 4. And then the same thing when we did 2 players, I went through it and we each controlled 2. But to make that work, we had to get rid of the sand timer.
Yeah.
And we said, no sand timer. And you just got to kind of, just don't take forever because you can spend all day long and
you get
overanalyze.
such the sense of like just whomping on the minions, right? I mean, you just clean house. It's so much fun. It's
but
like
see, that's part of it is the stress of the sand timer. I think it adds a lot when you have 4 players. Is you put that sand timer out and I want this card, I want that, and then you're like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have picked this one. I should have grabbed the hex thing instead, because I need to move sideways. And
I love when games force a sense of urgency. I love it.
It's these cards that you get do different things. So you can shoot forward, shoot backward, you can move left and right, you can spin, rotate different directions. And so you're programming like a board of actions. And then you go through that and they go, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I rotate 90 degrees. 90 degrees which way? Sometimes it gives you the choice, right? So you can go, well, in this case, I'm going to turn this way. And then, okay, then I'm going to fire my Riptide, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do a Cosmic Explosion or whatever it's called. So there's all these different things that you can do, and you're upgrading your things, you're moving around, but then you get damaged. And the damage will go on top of one of your other spots. So what you thought was going to shoot out, well, now it's going to make you go backwards or spin around, and it throws your whole thing out of whack.
It's so
chaotic. It's so much fun.
So much fun.
Oh my goodness. And you're trying to, in every scenario is slightly different. And what's cool about this too is I think you could play this with new people because the game walks you through as you go.
Right. The one, there's a great learning aspect to the game, but I do think that the programmable card thing will throw some people off.
Maybe a little bit. But
you have to think of stuff in sequential order, right? And where you'll end up by the end of the last card and so forth. But I think there's so much good to this game. I would bring almost anybody into it.
It can get crazy too when you see all these little minions all over the map, and you think, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, there's no way we're going to accomplish this task. The lava's coming after us and we've got to get over here. We still have to pick up that gem. Bob over here is spinning in the corner. He ain't helping us out. And I've got this oil slick in my way. And it can get chaotic. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, guys, hold up. I got this. I got this explosion thing and kaboom. And all of a sudden you're like taking everybody off the board.
And it definitely, I was looking at chat, and it definitely has a bit of that Warhammer and Blood Bowl feel to it. Definitely.
Yeah. I can see that.
But this is definitely a little more streamlined than those games, and way more just incredibly beautiful. Like I said,
the components are amazing. It's thematic.
And this
you don't have to be a fan of League of Legends to play it, but if you are, like I was, then I already recognize these characters, Corky and Tristana and all that. It's like
the really interesting thing about it too is that in the normal board game world, any normal publisher would be charging like $350 for this game. But Riot Games, we'll sell for 80.
I didn't even think it was that. Was it like 75 maybe?
It was I think it was.
Are they making money on this at all? I think they said that wasn't really their goal.
That wasn't their goal. They wanted to make it for fun.
So it's just now. I will say this.
I just dropped them a line and said, "Boy, I really would like," and they just sent me a
copy. Oh, you're so lucky. Yeah, I've played this. Like I said, I played it 2-player, 3-player, 4-player. You got to play it with 4 for the full experience. But the one thing I will say is I feel like at the end of the campaign, it was a little anticlimactic for me because I kind of felt like you learn this feature and you learn this and then you learn this. And then it kind of starts saying, okay, now we're going to combine this aspect with this aspect. And then you're combining and then by the end, you're kind of like, well, I've seen all of this stuff already. What's the new
Right.
You know, what's the, you know, I feel like it hit its peak like halfway through the campaign.
I agree.
Um,
But that
but
didn't make the other things less fun. It just you knew how
right.
to play then. The teaching was over. And now you can make up your own scenarios and do whatever you want, right?
Oh
So
yeah. Well, and it's got these packets
yep,
that they're
the
sealed up.
blind packets, which is
You
pretty
don't
cool.
know until you get to the next. It's
And
like
so
almost like a legacy game.
thematically and the story aspect is so fantastic.
Yeah. So you're going through, and then like you'll open one packet, and they'll say, "Okay, now open the box." And there's a box that you've been staring at for like 4 or 5 missions that you don't know what's in this box, and then you finally open the box and get the surprise of the, you know, the big thing that's inside of the box that I'm not going to spoil for everybody, but you got to play this game. You got to get this game. If you're a fan of League of Legends,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you gotta. I don't even know if you can still get this right now, but yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I think the only way to buy this is from Riot
Direct from
Games.
there. Yeah, it's
Direct from their
Yep.
website, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, let's see. Does anyone in the chat? Oh, Jeff. If Axis and Allies, Risk, or Strategico are not in your list, I have. I just bought Axis and Allies
You
from
can't.
a thrift store.
Yeah, you can't mention Axis and Allies without talking about Shogun as well.
There you go.
Both of those games were timely, you know, when they came out, right?
I will say, Council Fanboy, I have all of those games. I have Axis and Ally, I have Risk, and I have Stratego. All three are good games.
You have Risk Legacy, though.
I don't have Risk Legacy. I'm not a fan of, you know, burning the cards and that kind of thing. I can't handle that.
So
but yeah,
yeah.
I'm not. I would.
So that was your number one, though. My number two.
But that was my number one. So what?
So
you still got one more.
So yeah. So the interesting thing about that is that in a normal list, this could easily be my number one. But I was trying to think of arcade stuff, and one of the big concepts in arcade games is polyominoes, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many polyomino games, but my favorite is Project L.
I thought you were going to say that cat game.
Nope.
I'm like, the cat game. Really?
I like the game, all right, but no. Look up Project L.
Project L. Okay.
And it truly has those Tetris pieces, but
they're
thick and they're 3D-esque, and you're building out your puzzles with those pieces, and you're trying to get the maximum points. And it is, you know, you start with small pieces. You can turn pieces in to get bigger pieces, and you win pieces by finishing puzzles. So you're building an engine, but it's this really fun, like just cathartic type game. You easily can sit and chat while you play it. You have full that tactile experience with the polyominoes, full Tetris pieces, like straight up Tetris pieces.
So you're trying to fit them on this card. It's like Ubongo.
And they're all recessed. All these cards are recessed, so they actually fit down.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. And you have to decide what pieces to expand into by trading in pieces and upgrading pieces or downgrading pieces and putting together your best engine so you can put together any type of puzzle you want.
Oh, wow. That's kind of neat. So
it's a fantastic game. If you find me at a convention and you have this game in hand, I will sit and play it for hours.
Really? So you're upgrading your pieces.
Upgrading pieces. Huh. And I figure for an arcade list of games, I mean, Tetris and such, I mean, this.
And
it is one of my favorite games for sure. So
basic pieces, advanced pieces. Okay.
Yep.
Project
L. There's various types of expansions for it as well, and to just enhance the game and all that. So.
Okay, so this is how many points you get. This is the recessed area that you have to fill.
Yep.
You get your pieces back once you complete the puzzle.
Right.
Oh, and you'll get this as a reward. Okay. Yep. So you start real basic, and then as you go, you're gaining more pieces. Okay, so this is interesting because you get this piece. I can see how you got to think ahead, right?
Yep.
And go, okay, I want that piece, so I need to finish this puzzle so I can get that piece for this other puzzle.
Exactly.
Wow, this is a cool concept. I like this.
Fantastic. The game is just spot on. Just everybody I've shown it to has loved it.
Oh, I was going to Miniature Market. I was going to buy it.
I'm just gonna go order it.
I'm just going to go order it right now, Mark. I don't know. Let's. Oh, you're kidding, kill me. No, no. My favorite polyomino. Let's give a. Should I give a honorable mention since we're talking about polyomino games? This is a party game that I think everybody should try at least once.
Oh yeah.
Have you played this, Mark?
I played it once, just once.
Oh, I played this with like my parents.
Yeah, you can easily.
It's a game that will bring people together. It is goofy fun. Okay, this is a party game. This is a game where you get
party game.
You have these big chunky. I'll show you what they look like. Polyominoes.
Yep.
Right, and they're all different colors and different sizes, and you stack them up to make different pictures.
Yep, based on.
So that's a tough one. Wow. Really so you'll have something like this, and one person
again a dexterity, balancing, everything.
Yeah, one person can see the pictures.
Yep.
But they can't talk.
Right.
And so they have to like pantomime what it looks like to the next person.
Direct everybody to.
And the next person, they can't see the card, but they also can't touch the pieces. So they're trying to understand what the dude pantomiming to them is saying, and then verbally speak that to the third person who's blindfolded. The third person is the only one that can touch the pieces.
It's so crazy.
So anyway, that's called Team 3. But that's
definitely a convention game.
There's an honorable mention for you. So anyway, wow, Mark, I didn't think we'd have any crossover, but Mechs vs. Minions. It's just such a good game.
I mean, and it's based on such a big video game. How can you not mention it in an arcade game list?
Yep. Let's see what they're saying in the chat here. Tetris is a classic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna buy that game, the Project L. That looks really amazing. Good.
You got to get it.
I've got to get that game.
Yep.
I'm dropping boxes and stuff here.
I said it's one of my favorite games.
Now, does that have a solo mode in it?
It does.
They look like you could do something like that with a solo. Yeah, because it looks very puzzly. I like those kind of puzzly games.
I love it too.
This has been a blast, Mark. I was so excited to hear what your list was, and when I told Mark that I wanted to do top 10, he's like, I got something, I can one up that. I'm going to make something that's about arcades and stuff. I thought, man, that's perfect for my channel. It goes good with everything. And, how fun is that?
This was a fun list. I haven't done this type of list ever, so this was great.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys, can look at some of these games. If you're new to board games, go check out some of these ones. Maybe don't jump right into like Twilight Imperium. That might be a little bit much. But some of these other games, that we were talking about, the Flick 'em Ups and Rampage and King of Tokyo, Splendor, those kind of things. Great starting games to try out, and I think you guys might find that there's a little bit more out there than just the Risk and the Axis and Allies.
Yes, indeed.
So
we have an iRcade question.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Mark's an iRcade guy too. We love iRcade.
Yep.
What does he think of iRcade? Well, there you go.
I am blown away. It's fantastic. So a little story is that I had the small version from, I can't think of the company. Anyway, I have the small version of Dragon's Lair, and I saw iRcade was going to have a full-size modern cabinet with Dragon's Lair. That was one of my favorite games as a kid. I blew so much money on that, learning that game in the arcade. So I jumped in. Even if it had been the one game, I probably would have done it. But the fact that you can have hundreds of games is fantastic. And then I got a arcade 1-up, the Star Wars game. And I was so disappointed in the quality in comparison that I sold it. I just was very unhappy with it. So, I don't know that I would have to really go have hands-on another 1-up machine before I would even consider buying one. And the fact that they've made a riser as an add-on is just ridiculous. Little kids are not buying these machines. Make it a normal height. So dumb.
That's a good point. Like, they make them the 3/4 size. Like, it's perfect size if you're 6 years old, right? But what 6-year-old wants to play, Atari 12-in-1 games? Like, no one, like Asteroids, like, they're going to be like, Dad, this isn't fun.
It's like saying, oh yeah, You can buy this car from us, but to buy a steering wheel, that's an upgrade.
Right? Yeah. That's good. In fact, I took my iArcade is sitting right here, right
Yeah.
next to me. I took it off the stand. I like it on the stand, but I took it off the stand simply because I have no more room.
Oh, yeah.
I got another arcade, and then I've got all these board games back here, and I'm like, I don't have anywhere to put all this. So I said, well, I took my iArcade off the stand and I put it here. I still have the stand, but one of
Yeah.
these days I'll have more room and I can,
Yeah.
don't make me choose between the board games and the arcades. I can't do it. I can't do it. Some people are like, well, if you got rid of that giant shelf of board games behind you, and I'm like, I can't do it. No, like, don't make me like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
And the other thing about iArcade is I'm just super impressed with the company model and John and just how passionate they are and how much they really truly care about their customer base. And any little problem, they jump all over it. I love their passion for it. It obviously they're in it to
John
make
is
money, but
amazing.
they really are in it because this is such a cool thing. We want to share it with all of you, and I love, and I'm not seeing that from any of the other, that level of excitement, that level of fun. I don't see from any of the other stand-up home arcade machines.
I feel
So
like even if they weren't making money on this, they'd still do it as
I
a, just
feel the same
a
way. Yeah.
passion project. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm super impressed with the company, is why I jumped in. And the fact that they're the first ones to have, and really, people always talk about, oh, I want that authentic arcade experience from back when. I'm like, you know what? I lived that. I want a modern arcade cabinet, and I feel like iArcade delivers. So,
Yeah, it's can play a lot of the modern games that
yep,
you simply you can't get on the arcade one ups.
exactly.
They can't
Yep,
handle this stuff, And that's the other thing is the arcade one ups. They have to put out what the WalMarts and the GameStops and what they're telling them that they want to put out, right?
yep,
Because they're not, if they went to them and said, "Hey, we want to make an arcade cabinet for Raising Hell," Walmart's going to be like, "Never heard of this game before,"
yeah,
not
exactly.
put Pac-Man on it. So, but you can do that on an iArcade. It's more like a console, where
Yep,
you
it
buy.
is. It's more of a console. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like.
we are happy to have you as an iArcadian in the
Yes,
iArcadian
I'm
community. I
so
see you in
excited.
the chats and stuff, and
And most of my videos are going to be board game related, but I am going to try to do monthly videos on the iArcade. I'm going to probably do something on the top 5 games I'm playing right now or something like that every
on
month.
on the Dice Tower channel or
No, probably just on my board game
your own.
channel. I'll talk to Tom and see if he'd let me put it up, but I will see about doing a review for Space Invaders and having a combo thing.
There
Maybe I
you
can.
go. I was gonna say he might have to. He might say like, "Well, can you tie it in with board games somehow?" Or yeah,
But that one I can, right? Because I can be like, and guess what? Here is,
yeah.
yeah.
There
So
you
that'll
go.
be fun. So
And plug it a little bit on the side
yeah,
there at the same time. That's cool.
yeah.
Well,
So if you
Mark,
want to check out any of my board game stuff, go to Dice Tower. It's all under the playlist game previews. You can see most of my stuff there. So
and if you're following along Kickstarter and watching, board game stuff on Kickstarters, you'll run into Mark's videos there too all the time because he's
all the
always doing
time.
Kickstarter previews.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Ton of
What?
fun.
Well, you got any new ones that you're working on
Yeah,
that
this
we should
weekend I'm
check out?
working on a game. It's called Damnation, the Gothic game. And what's interesting is that this game was released like in 1965,
Oh wow.
and this person has gotten the license for it and given it a new coat of paint, tweaked the rules. It still has a bit of that roll and move aspect, but there's ways to augment your dice rolls. There's traps, but what it is that you're in Dracula's castle, and they don't say it in so many words, but you play characters like Jack the Ripper, and you're having to go to this castle and deal with Dracula to pay for all your terribleness you did in life. So, but it's
Jeez.
a battle royale against all these terrible, mythical, or not mythical, but like Victorian-esque terrible people that lived. So
Oh my gosh.
that's what I'm working on. Currently in the middle of working on. I should finish it up Monday morning, but it'll air
Right
on
on.
Tuesday. And then this week, just went up was Talisman Harry Potter for the op. So that video is fresh and new if you want to go check it out. So.
And of course, the Somewhere Under the Rainbow unicorn poop game.
Yes,
I think it's still on Kickstarter, right?
it is. It is.
Yeah.
I think it has a few more days left.
They haven't charged me for it yet. There's still time to back out. Well, thanks for coming, Mark. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed your list and your commentary on this. We're glad to have you around. And check out Mark on the Dice Tower, everybody. And
thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And chat, thanks for hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I probably should have put this on some of the board game groups too before.
Yeah, that's all right. You can share it out after it, after the
yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and game on. All right, later, nerds.